Did you think that was a penalty, Dom?
Let me first say this. I think Michael Oliver had a terrible game, and I think he had a terrible game on both sides.
And we have lost 5 followers.
Call me Kurt Zuma.
That's Klaus's dream, is get someone trapped on a hot air balloon for 4 hours.
Stop, wait. Let me just see.
Seat 41D has a fucking massive erection.
That's such a good one.
Damn.
Love it.
So good.
Bench Opinions. 3 idiots with amateur analysis.
Bench Opinions episode 22. It's good to have you back, Dom.
I'm back from my mama's house in Joburg. Yeah.
And you've taken Klaus with you.
Yeah, Claus was at my mama's house.
Also mama's house.
One of the few times your friend's allowed to say they're at your mama's house.
I've been on that couch a few times.
Although I think this is a new couch. But yes, you've been in this room a few times. You have.
Dominic is still sick though. He's got the cats now.
Is it?
Causing him to cough.
Oh,
yeah, I've developed a cat allergy at my age, which is lovely. But we're fighting the good fight here. I just cough every now and then, which is okay. Very pleasant to be around.
If you have any enemies, they could fuck you up with a bit of milk and a cat, eh? They just kill you.
The thing is, luckily I don't like cats. You know, my mom's cats are safe because they're my mom's cats. But any other cat, I have no problem drop kicking over a wall. So there you go.
And we have lost 5 followers.
Call me Kurt Zuma. I just won't be dumb enough to film it, you know.
Nice. Klaus is not going to get that reference.
Sorry, wait. We have to, because I've now mentioned that Kurt Zuma was a West Ham player.
Okay.
And his brother decided to film him kicking his cat across the room and
What a
putting
nice
it
guy.
online. And then he was banned.
Literally.
He literally kicked his cat across the room. And then he was banned for a few games, I think, and got his cats taken away from him. So there you go.
And now all the opposition fans keep singing about it.
I was joking about drop kicking cats, people, but it is annoying that I'm now allergic to them.
I saw you guys went on a balloon ride. Hot air balloon.
We did go on a hot air balloon ride. It's quite cool, actually. We didn't go as high as I thought we were going to go because the wind, obviously wasn't blowing in the right direction.
Looked like your oaks were like 30 meters above the ground.
Yeah, no, Flip was like, guys, sorry, we have to go back down again. We have to, it's like a low flying aircraft that over the squatter camps, which was interesting. Everybody's waving at us. So I think that was exciting. And then the landing was exciting.
Landing was pretty rough. Yeah, they kind of get you to go into the brace position. And he said, yeah, we're coming in a bit quick here. And then we hit the ground once, bounced up, and then hit
like
the ground
Ryanair
again.
Pilot.
Yeah. But yeah, we all survived. Everything good. Very nice. Actually, very cool experience. I think it was super impressive what a well-oiled machine they were. Like everything was sort of like clockwork. It was really good. It was reassuring because I feel like balloons, I just look at that thing and I'm like, there's a lot of things that can go wrong with that.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I'd like to use that opportunity to go into my first observation of the week because my first observation is balloon riding. So we were talking about all the different sizes you can have, and obviously he said, lots of people do this as an engagement thing. They go up, then they propose. And you can book between an hour or a 4-hour trip. And we were laughing about the fact that what if you go up in one of these things for 4 hours? It's you, your wife, or your potentially your fiance, and then Flip, the pilot. And now you propose on a 4-hour trip, but you propose in the first 20 minutes and she says no.
And then Flip's got to come in hot with some conversation starters because that silence is going to be awkward. And he better have some great conversation topics to fill that silence.
It reminds me of a couple of times I've heard people sort of go on a trip with their girlfriend or their significant other, and 20 minutes into the 4-hour car ride, they break up with them. We have someone that we know that did that, and I'm face palm, bro. Like, what were you thinking? Like, let's go on a beautiful romantic holiday. Actually, I'm over this. And apparently the person was quite shocked to discover that the significant other didn't want to continue driving and go on the holiday after they'd just broken up with him. So it's
I may or may not have seen one of those people who was affected by this in South Africa. But they're now well, so everything's okay.
It's good, yeah. Sometimes ill-advised decisions also work out for the better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think balloon flying was cool though. It was fun. It was I'm always skeptical. I thought it was going to be like those swinging chairs at Oktoberfest, where I thought it was a great idea until we were up there. But I didn't have any such fear this time. It was cool.
Also interesting people that we went up with.
Yeah,
Some
interesting bunch.
characters.
Yeah.
Who was there?
There were these 2 Swiss girls who were doing photo shoots with cows. That was quite quite
Two
amusing.
air hostesses, yeah, from Swiss Air. One of them spoke to Klaus.
Yeah. Then there was this Afrikaans Tanny who asked the dumbest questions and still couldn't understand what this guy was saying.
Yeah, that was weird. But also the air hostess was quite funny though. It was really funny because she spoke to Klaus, and then he answered. And Klaus is a conversationist, So and I think she very quickly realized she'd bitten off more than she could chew, and she went from initiating conversation to seeming like when I afterwards I spoke to Claus, I was like, bro, did you talk to her? She didn't seem like she wanted to talk to you. And then I was very surprised to hear that she spoke to him first, because she was like, you could see she'd bitten off way more than she could chew.
Deer in the headlights, just full on panic, and then she was like, okay, and then she like ran away.
It's like she was expecting one word answers, and then that would be it over breakfast,
Oh. That's Klaus's dream, is get someone trapped on a hot air balloon for 4 hours. Then conversation will be flowing one way at least.
No, she was stuck on the other side of the hot air balloon. We didn't speak on the flight.
It seems like it's quite a big thing if there's so many people on here, because you guys were, 4 people, and then there's another 3? This is a jumbo one.
12 people in the air.
Yeah, 12 people on the flight, depending on what the weights are. It can take up to 16 people. So yeah, I think you asked a question about what was the biggest balloon ever. I think I ended up Googling it at some point.
Oh yeah?
And I think it's a balloon that can take up to 40 people.
Yes.
Which seems like a mass death event that I don't want to be a part of. Thank you very much.
What was that one, that famous one that went down? The Hindenburg. Hindenburg.
That was a Zeppelin.
That was, yeah, but I mean, nah.
Glorified hot air balloon.
It's a fucking thing filled with air that you travel in.
Yeah, and it was also, I think its downfall was actually recorded, which was very rare for the time, and that thing went up in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, no, because it was filled with hydrogen, I think.
Yeah, I think it was hydrogen. Yeah.
So that burns quite nicely.
Dom, hit us with your observation of the week.
My observation of the week is that flying when you're ill is probably one of the worst experiences you can ever have in your life. And I think I had 2 of the worst hours of my life. So we flew via Doha, and I was already sick getting onto the flight. And the first flight was all right because it was a day flight, and I'd pumped myself full of meds, uppers to stay awake, and I was completely fine. But the second flight, obviously, when you're ill, you don't want to stay awake. You want to try and sleep, get through it, whatever. The thing is, we get to Doha, amazing airport, by the way. I was blown away. Huge. I mean, it makes European airports look like a high school project. Anyway, and then we go to the lounge, and in the lounge they are pumping the air conditioning, and slowly but surely my health starts to deteriorate. The bit of progress I'd made on the first flight disappears, and then on the second flight I get onto my seat. I'm in the middle seat, which compounds things as well, and I proceed to get like a massive coughing fit, trying not to cough because we're on a pressurized tube. And honestly, then that's when the domino stones started falling. I was off for the races. I was like, I need to earn more fucking money. I can't sit in this bullshit economy class anymore. This is the cuckest day of my life. I need to let me out of my seat. I should have bought more medication at the airport. So I was sent in a flat spin. But luckily, when the seatbelt signs came off, I went to the bathroom, blew my nose, got some fresh aircraft bathroom air, came back to my seat and fell asleep, thank God, after 2 hours. And then I was actually all right.
I had a similar thought. I wasn't sick, but I'm at a stage now, size-wise, where I think economy class is no longer for me, because it's too tight. Klaus, I don't know how you fit in there with your height, because those seats are touching my knees, and then when the guy in front of you reclines, the TV is here in front of your face, and then now that's for the rest of the flight. So, oh yeah, this thing's gone off. Fucking hell. Oh, there we go. No, I can appreciate that. That's cuck. I think flying in business, you'd feel better. I think everything feels better in business. I think they'd probably take better care of you in business as well. The air hostesses, not the one that Klaus spoke to.
I was quite impressed on our first flight. There was a lady that was extremely scared of flying, and the only reason I knew this is because Qatar apparently gives you the ability to register as someone who's scared of flying, and then the crew actually the crew actually takes care of you. So they're really well versed in what kind of medication you do get prescribed for flying, and they know exactly how long it takes to kind of kick in and everything. So the air hostesses kept coming up to the lady and saying, "Okay, how are you feeling? What's the story? Are you all right? Is there anything we can do for you?" And then the lady's like, "Yeah, well, I took this pill 2 hours ago," and she said, "Yeah, just give it another hour or so, and then you'll start to feel it kick in, etc." So that was quite interesting as well. So chapeau to Qatar Airways.
Nice. So they drug her themselves, or she took her own?
No,
medication?
you have to take your own pills. I don't think they now have willy-nilly pharmacists, air hostesses walking around popping pills for people. But
So it's like hanging out in Berghain.
it's like, oh shit, I accidentally gave passenger in seats 38E my birth control. Shit. Oops.
Some poor bra in the back, seat 41D has a fucking massive erection because he got given a blue pill.
Yeah, that
It's
would
getting
be
a bit lightheaded there.
yeah. Look, he probably would take his mind off him being scared of flying. So
Just before I flew back, there was all those planes that crashed or like that had accidents in like a short span of time. And whenever that happens, you just become a little bit more aware when you're sitting in a plane of what you're actually doing. But I think it's like shark attacks, you know? They like to put the ones that happen in the media, but there's not that many. So I think we're still fine.
100%.
I think so too. I think it's also one of those, I always just say to people, well then, if you're going to be scared of flying, you might as well not get in a car because the chances of dying are much higher.
Maxi, what was your observation of the week?
I just came back from gym and it's you got all the New Year's resolution people there.
That's full.
I think you can see there's a lot of good energy. People are ready to get 2025. It's better than on the 1st, where I walked out of, because I didn't go out on the 31st. I walked out on the 1st, went to gym, and on the way there was 3 dudes doing lines off their phones on the bench at 8 a.m. And I don't know if that's the New Year's resolution you want to go for, starting 2025 like that, but I didn't say anything. These guys at the gym though, my question to you guys is New Year's resolution still a thing for you guys?
For me personally, no. Because I think if you've got to wait all the way until a certain date till you start changing your life, then you're not really that committed to it.
But it is... Dom?
I don't find the actual, the definition of New Year's resolution, I don't find that interesting. I agree to a certain degree with Claus. But I like the symbolic meaning of turning a new page into a new year, particularly after festivities like Christmas and spending a lot of time with family and possibly friends and maybe having a big celebration and being quite nostalgic and reflecting on the previous year to then get, to then look forward to the whole new year. I do like the symbolic meaning of that. I think for me, it also works. I think this year it's a bit different for me because my holiday period has started now in January, but there's definitely, I think it can help people leave certain habits in the past, even if it's just symbolic. But I don't think having a New Year's resolution per se is more or less effective than just setting yourself new goals. And I think that can be done at any time.
Yeah.
Yes. Can you stop peeing mid-pee?
No. But yeah.
There we go. That's why you can't start resolutions middle of the year. It's let's be honest. None of us are superheroes here.
So he compared passing urine to setting yourself goals and trying to become a better person.
Yeah, that makes no sense. In the
100%.
fact that you're clutching at straws, yeah. The fact that so many people can't keep their new resolutions going for longer than a month is testament to the fact.
Yeah,
that a lot of this stuff is.
Yeah, but if Jason, who's 145 kilograms at 5'4", thinks he's gonna have a beach body by his Greece holiday in June, I think maybe we should work on where what the New Year's resolutions are, as opposed to if they're good or not.
I'm not like judging the actual resolutions that people are making, but I think it's quite good to sort of, because I mean we do think in years, in times, in weeks, in hours. So it makes sense to say, all right, 2024 was this, 2025 is going to be this. I've got some New Year's resolutions. I'm going to be a single-digit handicap this year.
Nice. You have to jump into one of the ponds then at our golf course if that happens.
No, it's only if it's the first time that you become a single-digit handicap.
Yeah, but first time in Germany, bro.
Well, what's this? You got to jump into a lake if you become single-digit handicap.
There's a tradition in Germany that when you become a single-digit handicap for the first time, that you have to jump into one of the ponds on the golf course.
At your home course or any golf course?
Well, I think your home course is probably more advised. I don't know if it would be appreciated if you walk into some stranger's golf course.
It's a good thing I'm far off of that.
There's one dude that when I played competition once at Wilkendorf, he was from a different golf course when we played league there, and he became single-digit handicap with the score that he shot, and he jumped into a Wilkendorf pond.
Nice.
That's good.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer golf club.
I played golf in the snow yesterday. I'm sure you guys saw.
We did see. I was actually about to ask you about that because that went against everything that you stand for in golf in winter.
Yeah, I forgot. And I remembered as soon as I got out the car, I was like, I said I wasn't going to do this anymore. And there was a good reason. It's terrible. I was freezing. Listen, it was fun to be out, but it was terrible to play because like the snow had melted a little bit and then refrozen.
It's icy.
Yeah, trying to you'd have to pitch it like 3 meters in front of the green to get a chance to stop it on the green. And then the wind started picking up. And then after 9 holes, I said, listen, let's pack this in.
9 holes is a good. I was going to ask you how many you played, but yeah, it seems terrible. Were you able to see the ball a bit better than the one time we were dumb enough to go out there in the snow?
So it wasn't actively snowing. There was just snow on the ground, and Bjorn gave me some balls. Let me tell you what hurts is when you thin the ball. First shot with cold hands. Yes. And my chipping is generally thinning the ball, so it was tough, to say the least.
Tell me, how did your driver go?
Better.
Okay, so you can hit it straight now.
You can only hit it in sub-zero temperatures.
Yeah.
The sun comes out now that as we speak about the shit weather, the sun is coming out here, which is good because Claus and I are playing golf.
Are you guys playing today?
Yeah, and we're recording actually at Firethorn, so that's quite cool. Filming for the golf channel.
Yeah, we got really lucky. Dominic managed to organize that we can play Firethorn whilst it's closed for maintenance. So we will be the only people on the course, which is going to be a new experience for the both of us. Quite excited about that.
How did your golf in the beginning of the week go, or last week?
For me personally, a bit of a mixed bag of results. The first round we played at Eagle Canyon here in Joburg, and I shot 101. It was definitely a round of 2 halves because I shot like 47 in the first half and then 54 in the second on the back 9.
It's that halfway house, man.
Halfway houses are not for me. I eat too much, I drink too much, and then the second round, the second 9 is just a bit of a ball. And then we played at Rugby and I shot a 92. So getting back to usual programming.
Yeah, I played all right. Definitely some rustiness in there, but some good ball striking. Similar rounds for me as well. Both days I played. Actually, at Rugby I started really nicely. I made 5 over the front 9, but then had 3 triples on the back in a row. That kind of killed me a bit, and I ended up shooting 87. And then at Eagle Canyon, struggled a bit to find a rhythm the first 9, but then ended up shooting 89. I think I shot a bit better on the back 9. So also a bit of a mixed bag, I think, to be expected after 3 months without a golf club in your hand. But let's see how the progress is this week. Hopefully we can speak about some sub-90s for Claus and some sub-80s for me later in the week.
That's the dream.
Wishing you guys well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we've spoken enough about our sporting endeavors. Let's talk about a bit of actual astro athletes. This week there was no URC. There was also no Rugby Championship or Challenger Cup. But something we can talk about in rugby are the rugby law changes that became effective on the 1st of Jan. So there's a couple that I agree with. There's a couple that I think are a bit weird. I'm just going to run through some of them and then we can have a chat about them. The first one is the conversion time has been reduced from 90 seconds to 60 seconds, which I think is going to give Mani a whole new set of problems because he struggles with 90 seconds already. So
I just hear a contract in Japan coming for Mani.
Another one that we've got is the line-out formation. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but especially last year, our line-outs, like we were really slow to get to them. And so they've reduced that to 30 seconds. The line-out needs to be formed after a mark has been made. So that's going to be interesting for our teams because we like to sometimes slow down the game. And I think that's been frowned upon from the rest of the playing nations. Then there's a couple that have been designed to support the scrum half, which is interesting. The one is if a player is part of the ruck or was part of the ruck, i.e. was part of a tackle, got up, and is now standing next to ruck, they're not allowed to touch an opponent opponent who is within 1 meter, i.e., the scrum half, essentially. And the same is for a maul. So, when you have those guys like reaching over the ruck, trying to grab their jerseys and pull them in, that sort of stuff is not going to be allowed anymore, which I think is going to be detrimental to Ireland because they like to get a bit, I wouldn't say cheating, but like pushing the boundaries of the law on that front. So that's quite interesting.
I think
It's
England
going to be
as well.
tough for Ireland because they cheat.
Yeah, you bloody cheat. No, I think it will also probably any team that looks to disrupt. So I think you'll say England will probably be someone that maybe doesn't necessarily like the look of that rule. I'm a bit worried about the 1 meter definition. It seems like there could be some dubious calls. I wonder if one could have defined that a little bit better, but I guess we'll see in time. But yeah, that whole 1 meter thing with the naked eye.
No, I think they do get a measuring tape, the refs.
Stop, wait. Let me just see. Don't touch this oak.
It's always set to 1 meter, and then he's fucking just running around with the measuring tape in his hand.
Nice, Roo.
Or he just has a stick. It's 1 meter long. And he's just placing it down everywhere.
And he can use that stick also just to whip people when they're not listening to him.
Green? No, green. Get out.
It would have been cool if they just defined it as the Fafterklak's body length.
Well, there you go. There's your measuring tape running around with you.
Lie down, Faf, lie down. Okay, cool. No, it's fine. You can touch him.
Okay, the next one we've got is the uncontested lineouts, which we've already seen this year with this last year, where if you don't go up for a lineout and the lineout is thrown in skew, you don't get a penalty. It's just play on, which I'm happy with that. I think it forces teams to actually go up and contest, which makes it a lot more interesting in the air. Then the ones that are a little bit controversial, I guess, are the way that TMOs are able to intervene in the game. And you've got two different things. You've either got a 2-phase like recall, essentially, or you've got an attacking play recall. 2 phases means either 2 rucks or a maul, or so anything that's like a breakage in play, right, during open play. The things that can be called back on that would be, for the 2-phase scoring, was offside in open play, tackles and offside at ruck, offside at maul, quick touch and throw-in and lineouts, and offside at scrum and in-goal penalty and free kicks. Those are the things that can be brought back by 2 phases. The things that can be brought back during attacking play constitutes as anything from a restart or a turnover of possession. That is relevant for knock-ons, forward throws, balls in, quick throw-in, and lineouts. And what was I going to say now? The interesting thing is that the TMO can independently just chime in. It doesn't necessarily need to be something that the referee asks for. What's it called, like to referrals.
Yeah, that's interesting because it's a little bit more similar to football, I would say. In football, it's they keep playing until the VAR then says, "Hey, I've got something for you to look at here," which is quite interesting because it's unlike rugby. Actually, rugby usually tries to stay away from, and rightly so, I think, to a large degree. TMOs are definitely well supported. It's a well supported system within rugby most of the time, whereas VAR very much is unpopular.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, I mean, to be honest, for me as a maybe a less serious rugby watcher, I think these are all semantics for me. I think if there is, obviously you have to define a period. I mean, TMO can't look back at an incident in the 20th minute and be like, oh, I've seen something. But if they're in the second half, but of course, I think for me it's like semantics. I think it's just looking at trying to define things.
But I think it's good that they've introduced these rules, because before that it was almost like you were trying to decide when it was influential, and then it becomes there's no clear definition of what that is, and people were then trying to estimate it, and so you're always going to be a little bit unfairly treated. Here you've got very clear time frames and structures in place, so I think that's quite good. The other interesting thing is that for referrals, you can overrule a decision up until the restart kick. So before it used to be the conversion kick, and once the conversion kick is taken, you can't sort of go back anymore. Now it's up until the restart kick, which is I think doubling it's soul destroying if you do make
Yeah.
a conversion kick and now all of those points
Yeah.
get reducted.
Yeah, it's good though. It also I think it gives the TMO some more time maybe, which is something that's not a bad thing.
A lot of the ones that you mentioned in the beginning seem to be aimed at speeding up play, which is positive. I think some teams will do better with them and some won't. I know that a lot of the All Black pundits on the breakdown, for example, and some of them on Twitter are all for less involvement by the TMO. And I think it always depends where you're currently at and what's happened to you. So obviously football fans go through this debate a lot about like whether VAR is good for the sport or bad. And I saw some pictures of some of the decisions back in the day before there was VAR in football of like offsides that weren't given, goals that were scored, where it was so blatantly a mistake. And I think when that happens to you, let's say it happens to you in a final, it's easy now to say, oh, we don't need VAR because it takes the passion or the TMO takes the passion out of the game and stuff like that. But when that happens to you and it's such big things on the line, it also takes the pressure off the ref because he's not going to be perfect. And I've never minded the VAR or the TMO getting involved because if there's been a mistake or there's something illegal that's happened, it should be called out. I still get just as emotional when my team scores. I'm tense when the team. The thing about the difference is that in VAR they'll have a look afterwards when a goal is scored. When the TMO says after you've scored a try, I've got something for you to look at, you know that try is not going to be given because the TMO is not going to chime in within something 50-50. So I think that's the only difference.
But you make an interesting point there because there is. However, it is kind of a thing now in football, and I think this is wrong. It is kind of a thing now in football that if a ref is called to the screen, 99% of the times they tend to agree with what's on the screen. And I think that's something where you could criticize VAR a little bit more, is that there is an element now, and maybe it's just statistically, but there is an element that as soon as that referee is sent to that screen, the decision's already been made because 99% of the time the ref just goes with what the VAR has seen. And I think for me that defeats the point and purpose of VAR or of sending the ref to the screen to interpret it himself. I think if that was really the case, you would see statistically less of the case of them just agreeing with what was on the VAR, because I think there are decisions that very much, and then this weekend's one of those weekends where there's decisions where you would want the referee to take their time and have a look at it. And I just think so often they just look at it twice, turn around and make the decision. So
football seems to have gone down the route of the same way that you do it in American football, of like the main ref, or even in NHL, the main ref sort of reviewing the footage, then making the decision. Why have they gone that route instead of like other, I say, British sports like cricket or like rugby, where you have a third umpire who sort of checks in on that? Is that to keep the power with the main ref, or what was the decision making on that?
I have no idea.
I can't tell you why they decided to do that way. I think it's to a certain degree maybe for transparency. But you make a good point, because but again, it wouldn't be a discussion and it wouldn't be a point of concern if you were seeing statistically more refs actually looking at it and making the decision themselves. And it's skewed now because of how often they just turn around and give it. So I think if you take that debate out, if that's not in question, then you don't question why they do it, because you would say, okay, well, let's give the opportunity to the match official who has the decision to do it, and they officially have the chance, but it doesn't seem like they're using the chance to actually interpret it themselves.
Yeah, I think the frustrating things for fans is probably when if a video assistant is introduced, regardless what sport it is, then you'd want a 100% error-free judgment, and there is still errors that are made by a VAR, by TMO, and by cricket as well. I mean, in the India-Australia one, it was contentious because the Indian player seemed to have come off his hand, and a Snicko didn't pick it up, but the VAR still gave it out because he saw a clear deflection. And then people obviously are like, well, if the technology doesn't prove it, then what is it there for? And same thing happened in a similar sense to Liverpool last year when we were playing Tottenham. a goal wasn't given because the VAR and the referee were communicating in the wrong way. So there's still mistakes that happen. I think that's probably the frustrating thing for fans, is that if you have a video assistant referee, you'd want him to be 100% right.
It's like when you play rugby in France and the TMO then suddenly loses all communication with the refereeing team.
Yeah, that's very convenient. Oopsie, right? But yeah, I think also consistency is the key as well. I think that's one of the things, and that's the biggest criticism of VAR, that the consistency is not there. If they're making the same decisions based off the same set of facts every single time, okay, then that's the way it is, but it just isn't the case.
Yeah. I think some of the more interesting rule changes are not rule changes. They are rules or laws that are not being or haven't been approved and not going to be implemented in 2025. I think the most interesting one of the three is the 20-minute red card not being approved. That decision they're going to make at the end of this year. I personally thought it was a really cool law in terms of, if you have a situation where a player gets a red card in the first 10, 20 minutes, that the game isn't essentially decided, because, you will be able to have that second go at it once your 20 minutes elapsed. Maxi, what did you think of that? Would you want to implement that rule, or do you think it's too premature?
I was fine with it. I think it'll probably still take some testing, and the referees probably still need to know the clear lines. I remember when we talked about it, it was actually not that clear what was going to be yellow, what was going to be 20-minute red, and what was going to be red. But I think it's a nice addition. So we'll see.
Those are all the law changes. The only two other things that weren't implemented was the one-stop maul, and you cannot take a mark from a restart, so from a kickoff. Other than that, the rest of the game remains the same. Run forward and throw backwards.
And every time a ball gets thrown, Claus is going to shout it was forward, and every time a line out is going to get thrown, and he's going to say it's not straight. But at least now when it's uncontested, nobody's going to care.
And with that, let's move over to something that is going to be very entertaining for me to watch. Maxi, your team in the Premier League has been playing phenomenally well. Dominic's team, however, has not been playing so nicely. But they pushed you guys to the limit yesterday.
Push it to the limit. Yeah. I sense, Dom, when you were talking about VARs and making wrong decisions and making rush decisions, that you somehow don't believe that De Ligt handball was a handball.
How about, no, hold on, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. How about you, with your humble, non-tinted glasses, give us a nice summary of the game from your perspective yesterday. Let's start with that.
Okay. So I said, I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but I said to friends, I'm worried about this because people think Liverpool are going to run over United because United are playing so terribly and we're in such good form. But every time Liverpool play United, it's a big game. So form doesn't really matter coming into it because people get psyched for it. United hadn't scored at Anfield, I think, for 10 games. I think the refs, the commentator said something like 900 hours they hadn't scored at Anfield. And as soon as he said that on commentary, I was like, oh, we're fucked. We're fucked because United did play well. They were up for it. I think I didn't think that they were that dangerous attacking. I think Liverpool defended badly more than United were dangerous, but I think they got into some crunching tackles and they defended really well, United. And yeah, they deserved a draw. One could even make the argument that they deserved to win. But there's definitely more positive signs for United fans under Amorim. Now you just have to keep it going. Yeah. Was that fair enough for you, Dom?
No, I mean, I want your honest view of the game. And I think the sentiment is generally that I think the key that you said at the end of it is that I think United fans, and Amorim said it himself, you're right to be annoyed at the fact that there is a performance like this in the side. And it was a very good performance. I think I disagree with you a little bit in terms of you just defending badly. I think a lot of the movement, particularly from Dalot, for example, was very, very good. And Trent was found out, I have to be honest. I think, I don't know what's going on with that guy, but I think the sooner he gets on a plane to Madrid, the better for you at this stage.
He had one bad game. His December was outstanding. He played so well and he defended well.
We're talking about this game.
Every time he has a bad game, people jump on he's a terrible defender. But the fact that he's gone the beginning of the season and the whole beginning of the season and played extraordinarily well, people just like to jump on the bandwagon.
The next Liverpool game, I'll watch him and I'll give you that. But we're talking about United Liverpool, and he was shit yesterday. So there you go.
Sorry, I've got to chime in. By that logic, you would have to remove your entire team because you guys have been playing terribly the whole season.
But we've agreed that we've been terrible. I haven't sat here and said we're not terrible.
Yeah, but you can't just say like one guy has played one game badly, so you need to take him out. Everybody can have an off day.
Listen, Klaus, we're going to get to Tottenham in a minute.
I know nothing about Tottenham.
Did you think that was a penalty, Dom?
Let me first say this. I think Michael Oliver had a terrible game, and I think he had a terrible game on both sides. I think there were bad decisions on both ends, and that irritated the shit out of me because big games should not be influenced by refereeing decisions. Ugarte should have had a yellow card way earlier in the game. There was a handball decision that probably could have been looked at, maybe not Michael Oliver's fault, but VAR on the other side. Virgil van Dijk handball, I don't know if you saw that.
No, they didn't show it on Sky.
You would ask why. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Harry Maguire's yellow card for that tackle that gave you a free kick just in front of our box made absolutely no sense. He got a ball only. So I think that's my irritation. My irritation is that the game wasn't well refed as a whole, in my opinion. If you add to that the handball, I think at the end of the day, it is a 50-50. I think proximity has to be factored in. And I think there's absolutely no way... there's no way he can in any way want to touch that ball with his hand, because I think if you're going to start giving decisions like that, then the rule should be if it touches a hand in the box, no matter under what circumstance, it should be a penalty. So that's kind of my summation.
If it's not in a natural position, and it's not in a natural position, if that had happened the other way around, if a Liverpool player had handballed like that in the box, I would have said it's a penalty. And I think that's the way you know in your heart whether it's true or not.
I think the whole proximity rule should be more clearly defined, and I think if a player is sort of jumping and making...
Listen, your Dutch centre-back can't play volleyball in the box. It doesn't matter how close to the ball he is.
Okay.
I'm going to agree with Maxi. I also thought it was I thought it was a handball. Like, that seemed unnatural for him to go like that. If you're going to just throw yourself in the way of a potential direction of a ball, then you're attempting a block.
Technically, Luis Suarez was very close to Asamoah Gyan in the 2010 World Cup as well.
No, he was not.
And he fucking
he was that. You cannot compare those two. He literally tried to save it like a goalkeeper. You cannot compare those two.
Now you want the ref to come out with a ruler as well to measure proximity, or what?
We can take the same stick that we had from rugby.
You have no problems with proximity in rugby, but now when it's football and it's Liverpool, then you do.
I think we need to maybe get into the stick production game early, now that both sports have started to adopt it.
Anyway, at the end of the day, I think it was 2-2 was a fair result. I think a lot of people, because United have been so bad, are arguing that United probably deserved to win. I think that's maybe a step too far. I think on the balance of play, a draw was deserved. I'm glad to see that United can pick things up. I think you're slowly starting to see Amorim learn who his best team are. I think Mainu and Ugarte looked very good in midfield yesterday, and that's something nice to see. I think our biggest issue is up front. I think Højlund just isn't finishing the chances that he needs to finish.
That one-on-one should have definitely... He made the best run for it.
Yeah.
And he should have finished that. And I think that's sort of when you have a striker who gets one or two chances a game, if he can score that, then you've got a natural goal scorer.
Yeah, but I think, as I said, the only way we look back on this game positively is if the next performances are of a similar level. Otherwise, I think it's just it's City all over again. We beat
false dawn.
Yeah. We beat City and nothing comes from it. But yeah, good to see Lisandro Martinez have a good game because he struggled under the new system with Amorim, but he was good and the finish was great. So yeah,
I'm so glad that the rivalry is back. And you know how I know that it's back? I despise so many of your players, so many of them. I think their character's terrible. I think just the look on their face already makes me angry. Lisandro Martinez, Diogo Dalot, your goalkeeper, he's an idiot. And the worst of the worst is Bruno Fernandes. Oh,
and it's particularly bad when he plays as well as he did yesterday as well. That must be said. Picked up the man of the match.
On an unrelated note, I'm turning our Bench Opinions Twitter profile into it's a very staunch Liverpool oriented Twitter profile. That's your guys' own fault. It's because you don't use it. And yesterday, I think I had my Liverpool tinted glasses on, and I said some shit on there, and it's just the way it is.
Cool. I know what I'll be doing for the next week is logging into X and just fixing the algorithm there a little bit.
I don't understand how you can be a teammate of Bruno Fernandes and like playing with him. He bitches and moans at his teammates the whole time. If he doesn't get the ball, if a guy doesn't run back, and there's parts of that a captain needs to do, but it depends how often you do it and in what tone. And he just looks like he's constantly moaning.
He definitely splits opinion, and he splits opinion amongst the fans as well. But again, I say it's all well and good if you're performing the way you did yesterday. And he came out after the game yesterday and said this is the first proper performance by himself in a very long time, and he's annoyed because he feels like he should be doing this more often. So I think, yeah, and I think that is the profile of a player like Bruno Fernandes is he's going to be someone that is going to. It opens themselves up to a lot of criticism, and the only way you shut up the critics is by performing well, which he hasn't done, and yesterday at least is one step in the right direction. But yeah, it is good. You make a good point. It was a great, fantastic game of football. It was high energy. It was end to end, and exactly what a Liverpool United game should be. So a lot of positives.
Weather was absolutely miserable.
The weather looked terrible.
Yeah,
Yes, the rain was coming down.
Ew.
And the amount of snow that was pushed to the side of the pitch was also quite interesting. Yeah. There was a couple more draws in the Premier League this week. Brighton versus Arsenal 1-1. Fulham versus Ipswich 2-2.
Arsenal fans are upset, eh? Yes.
Yeah.
But did you see that penalty that was given?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Again, I think if you the rules should be more clearly defined. I think if he plays the ball, no penalty. But if it's dangerous and he plays the ball, penalty. I don't know. It's difficult. I think they were hard done by though.
I think it's tough. But there's no fan group online that believes that there is a conspiracy against their team more than Arsenal fans. They think that for some reason the whole league and everyone is against them.
That's what will happen to you if you keep fumbling it, you know? You'll start believing it's everyone else's fault except yourself.
The other draw that we had was Crystal Palace versus Chelsea 1-1. I think that's pretty much to be expected. Those two teams are neck and neck in the league.
Ooh. Chelsea have stumbled a little bit, hey? They were our main contender at the top of the league, and then it started with that Fulham defeat. I don't think they've won a game in the last 4, something like that.
Yeah, Maresca kind of foreseeing their own demise a little bit by he kept on slamming home that they're definitely not title challengers. So let's see how they respond. I still think they're very much in the mix in terms of top 4, and I think it's going to take Liverpool really hitting a slump and really struggling for anyone to catch them now. So if they can just stay in the hunt, you know, I don't see that result as too bad either. I mean, it's a very well coached Crystal Palace side.
I saw another person online say that let's say if 90 points is your benchmark, if you say 90 points is going to win you the season, the league, then Arsenal can only afford to drop 6 more points to get to that target. Liverpool can afford to drop 15. And that just shows you like where they're currently at and what can still happen. This season, I think nothing's unheard of. A lot of teams are still going to drop points, and you're going to get some unexpected draws and losses also for Liverpool. And Arsenal have played a lot of their toughest opponents away from home, which also has to be said.
I think the trend this season is a lot of teams overperforming and a lot of teams underperforming. And the question's going to be coming out of this busy spell now, because the busy spell is really, really the difficult part that you just try and navigate through. The interesting thing is going to see is if the underperforming teams start to step up a little bit and start stealing points from the top guys. And if the overperforming teams continue to perform the way they are, your Nottingham Forest, your Brighton, I could argue, are also overperforming. And that's going to be quite interesting to see.
What is happening with your boy there, Ange Postecoglu? Claus, is he under pressure?
I mean, he's lost another one, hasn't he? Against Newcastle, 1-2. I don't know. I didn't watch the game. So you tell me. You're the football fan.
I'd be surprised if they let him go in the middle of the season, but he definitely needs to find something in that team, because they'll put on a great performance and then they'll lose 2 or 3 games. Then they'll play well again. And I think his problem is that he's quite a characteristic guy, and he's doesn't mind saying what's on his mind. And if you do that as a manager, they'll take things and they'll turn them on you quicker than you can see. I think he promised a trophy in his second season, which would be this season. And just in general, people love coming for you and digging those things up when you're struggling. So I don't know if he's his own best friend at times.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities between Spurs and United in the sense that the fans are really upset at the owners. They feel that the owners prioritized a nice brand new shiny stadium, which is cool, but the owners were also very vocal about the fact that the stadium wasn't going to affect their footballing project. And the sentiment amongst a lot of the Spurs fans is that it is, and that they don't feel that Ange is necessarily, or the club as a whole on a footballing level is being properly backed by the ownership. I'm not deep enough into it to knowing, but that's the first signs of, some of the fans will get behind Ange because they feel like he's hard done by on a management ownership level, and a lot of the other fans will be against him and say, hey man, look at what we spent in the summer, you should be doing better. I think it'll be interesting now to see in January if they do back him. There's a lot of Spurs are in the middle of a lot of the transfer rumors. For them they seem to be very active on the transfer market. And I think if they do back Ange and he doesn't turn it around, I think he's going to go. I think they're going to learn a lot though from United and getting Amorim in mid-season. I think it's a different story. I think Amorim, the owners short term were willing to kind of take the gamble and get someone in with a new system. I think either way, I think Spurs will hang on to him until the end of the season, and he might be able to limp into sort of a European spot with them and take a gamble at trying to win the League Cup or something. But I don't know if he'll stay there throughout the summer.
Since sorry guys, should we move on to a bit of quick cricket before we finish off with our last segments? I don't have that much time left.
Okay, I'm just going to quickly run through the remaining scores from the Premier League. Then we had Bournemouth versus Everton 1-0, Aston Villa versus Leicester City 2-1. And then a big game was Southampton versus Brentford 0-5. And Man City beat West Ham 4-1. So for Pep, it's looking a little bit better right now.
Goodbye Lopetegui. I think he's not going to last much longer, I don't think.
Yeah.
One of the games that we can't review because that's only happening tonight is Wolves versus Forest. You would think it would go the way of Forest. And then Liverpool versus Forest on Wednesday, which is going to be an interesting one, I think. But
that's a big one.
Let's move over to cricket. So cricket, we had Australia versus India, which Australia won.
Clinched the series.
We'll be playing them in the finals at Lords in the WTC, right?
I've registered our interest for tickets there on the Lord's website.
Thank you. I was very happy to hear that news. I have to say, what an absolutely brilliant advert for Test cricket. There's always whisperings in cricket about how the relevance of Test cricket. This was absolutely blockbuster. The one thing I have to say though, and this for me only puts the dickheads from England, Australia, and India under more scrutiny for ruining the game, is that they consistently push our teams like South Africa so far out the way that we literally are unable to play 5-match Test series. And I think, or even 3-match Test series a lot of the time. And I think the cinema, the excitement, everything about Test cricket is a big part of it is in the fact that you play 5 matches and that there's drama that unfolds between players, between fans, between the storylines that are told. And I think that, and I hope that, and I don't think there will be self-reflection, but this is the perfect sign that they've got to open up the game a little bit more. And I think hopefully, indirectly, the pressure from South Africa making that final, if you're on the side of Australia, India, and England, undeservedly, which I don't agree with at all. I think we beat who's in front of us and we're there with good reason. But I hope that that's another sign that they have to open up the game because it's just going to kill the game long term.
Yeah. It is like, I understand that the three of them look after their revenue streams, but you can't on the other side then complain when we don't get to play the three of them and we beat the other nations that are there and we get to the final, and hopefully we give Australia a good hiding just to fucking put everything back into perspective. But I think it is, if you look at I think obviously for the South African public, playing Pakistan is not as interesting as, let's say, it would be to play India, Australia, and England. But you do have to look at the attendances at the two different test series and just be like, you understand why these guys put on these test matches. I'm agreeing with everything you're saying, Dom, that that is the spectacle and that is why there's so many people there. But yes, the Australians sell out cricket matches. I mean, to have 80,000 people at a cricket,
those stadiums are full,
is unreal.
Hey man, I'm all for Australia saying, hey, listen, Boxing Day test match and New Year's test match, you're not touching it. We're playing at home. I'm all for that. I 100% agree with that.
For sure.
But I think opening opening those games up to other nations is vital.
Yeah.
And I think there's just such a stranglehold. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable to see.
It's cool.
Two of the standout players in the Australia-India game was the second innings for India. Burland took 6 wickets. So that's quite a smashing from him. And then
When you speak about these, when you speak about the Australians, you can't say Burland and Labuschagne. You've got to say Labuschagne and Boland.
And then I actually can't read his name from here, but there's one of the one of the Indian players. He made 26 runs off 95 balls in his first innings. I think it was Jadeja. So yeah, that's not you're not going to get any runs off that. It was quite low scoring actually. It was 181 and 162.
It's a tough pitch.
For Australia, and then for India it was 185 and 157.
The greenest pitch I've ever seen. Unbelievable.
That thing, yeah, that was. Just on a side note, Sam Constas had his debut. The young Australian, the one that Virat Kohli was arguing with, and I've seen online some Australians sort of being like, "Hey, he needs to tone it down because he's going to have a target on his back if he keeps behaving like this." But it is exactly those storylines with players like him that make those five test series so awesome, because it's the same as when Quinton was fighting with David Warner. Those kind of things and those kind of characters in test cricket make it exciting.
I absolutely agree with you. And I mean, last week in the podcast, we were talking about Farane also fighting with one of the Pakistani players. And that, that's the kind of stuff that gets people backing their teams from a passionate perspective, right?
I'm glad Varena's backed it up now with a bit of runs, because before that he was struggling, and I can't stand when people are loud and when they're obnoxious and they haven't contributed at all to the team. But yeah, he's done that now. South Africa in a very commanding position, enforced the follow-on against Pakistan, but Pakistan have fought back a little bit. I think wouldn't be surprised if this one plays out to a draw. But I guess they do still have. I think it's day 3, isn't it?
Two more days.
They still have 2 more days, so they still have a lot of cricket left. So we're definitely still in the driver's seat.
Currently, the situation with the SA-Pakistan game is South Africa set 615 runs, Rickleton making 259, which is incredible. Temba 106 for Raining, as you said, also played very nicely. He made 100 runs, and Janssen, as an all-round bowler, made 62 runs, so that was quite good. Wickets, Janssen took 4 and Rabada took 3. In comparison, Pakistan, they made 194 in their first innings. They're currently on 312 and have lost 1 wicket. So that continues now. I'm assuming, that probably started like an hour ago. So we'll see how that continues. And I guess we'll report back on that at the beginning of next week.
Let's run through our plays of the week quickly, because I think we'll all have one on set. And I don't mind kicking us off. Mine goes to Rickleton for his 259. He was struggling for runs, so it's good that he made such a big score. I was quite surprised they didn't declare earlier, but it's clear to see why now. They definitely wanted to give themselves a good chance of enforcing the follow-on. Nice for him to get some runs.
He played extremely well. My play of the week goes to the Nuke at Ali Pali. The 17-year-old goes and absolutely dominates. That guy's got ice running through his veins. The way that he just shut everybody out was unreal. And anytime he thought his back was against the wall, he just boxed his way out. So that's very impressive from such a young athlete.
Yeah, just a quick side note then, very short. Interesting, I read a piece on Luke Littler and also the earning potential within darts, and that they say that your earning potential within darts is one of the most multifaceted in the sporting world, because the sport is not known for people that are fit and blah blah blah. Luke Littler has massive gaming sponsorships. He has massive energy drink sponsorships. He has the variety of sponsorships that you can garner is so big, and some people are predicting that within the next 5 years he's going to earn over £100 million if he continues to play the way he's going, which is absolutely crazy. So that's quite interesting. He's unbelievable. 17 years old. I think he turns 18 in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, my player of the week is Hideki Matsuyama, winning his 11th title on the PGA Tour, shooting 35 under par for the 4 days.
Yes.
Yeah, they absolutely ripped that course to shreds in Hawaii. So yeah, unbelievable. I think Colin Morikawa came out and he was like, they interviewed him and asked him, because I think he finished like somewhere in the top 10, and they asked him what he thinks of Hideki shooting 35 under, and he basically said, "Excuse my language, that's fucking crazy." So there you go. That's my player of the week.
Nice. So we had done this 3 weeks ago, our top five athletes of all time. And the votes have come in, and I'm just double checking that no more votes have come in since we started the podcast. Maxi, you take the win on that one, and Dominic and I are tied for second and third.
Win.
So congratulations to you. Just for a little reminder for everybody, Maxi's choices were Michael Phelps, Simone Biles, Ronaldo, Mike Tyson, and Jonah Lamu. So that was your winning picks.
I think just to clarify again, because I saw some people commented on it, the way we're doing it in the draft style means you're not going to get the top 5 that you necessarily believe is the top 5 best. It's the best that are currently available. I think, Dom, that took you for a bit of the ride there. But now we're prepared.
Yeah.
I'm excited for today's top 5. I think it's going to be a good one. And because I won last week, I don't know if going first is that important, because I don't think there's one. Actually, yeah, I think I will go first. I think there's one that I think we all might take. So I'll go first.
Should Dom and I do rock, paper, scissors? One match takes all because we tied. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Dominic can choose.
I'm going to go last. I'm going to go third.
Dominic will go last. Okay, cool.
Okay, to kick us off, I'm gonna take Invictus. I think it's the most emotional South African sports story we have. We're going to leave out, we're going to excuse Matt Damon's Afrikaans accent, but other than that, it's a beautiful story with a beautiful man, Nelson Mandela, who saved rugby for South Africa.
Yeah, I think that was all of our first picks, so that's already gone. My first pick is going to be Cool Runnings. Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. Nice. Come on, boys, it's bobsled time.
I didn't even have that.
I'm a big fan of that. Yeah. I'll pick 2 in a row, correct?
Mm-hmm, cool. That's correct.
The Longest Yard is the next one for me. The Longest Yard. Such a good one.
Damn.
Love it.
So good.
And then this one's maybe a little bit left of field, but I love this movie, so I'm going to stick with it. Eddie the Eagle.
Yeah, I've also got that one on the
love
list.
Eddie the
nice.
Eagle. Yeah.
Yes, now I'm going to think strategically. What are these oaks going to pick? I'm going to stick with the winter sports. I'm going to go with Mighty Ducks. It's a good...
Which one of the trilogy?
No, the first one. The first one.
I like that. A big fan of the Mighty Ducks. I'm going to take Coach Carter for my second pick.
Damn it.
That's a brilliant one. Do you have 2 in a row now?
He's got 2 in a row, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And on the way back, I'm going to take Moneyball.
Moneyball, yeah.
Also
a good one.
Also a good one.
All right, Claus.
Right. Then I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with King Richard.
Oh, yeah.
The story of Serena and Venus Williams' father.
Never watched it.
It's a very good movie. Dominic, you got 2 picks.
2 picks. I am going to go for Happy Gilmore.
Damn it.
As one of my next picks. And then this is just one because I think it's fucking brilliant, and I don't think a lot of people have it on their list, and it's a very South African centric movie for sport, is Mr. Bones.
No, yeah, Guara Guara.
Oh, shit.
That's very left of field.
That's a good one.
But Mr. Bones is my other pick.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with...
All right, Klaus.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a dodgeball.
Yes, so good.
No.
So good.
Fuck, I was going to take...
It's terror, but I like the taste.
That's sent me a little bit for 6 now. Okay. Jesus, I wish I could have gotten a comedy in there as well, because mine are quite serious. Okay. I'm going to take Bend It Like Beckham.
Mm-hmm, good.
Ooh, yeah, good
my
movie,
4th slot. And then I'm going to take The Blind Side.
Very good.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Okay, I am going to go with a racing movie, Talladega Nights.
Very, very good.
What did I do with my hands?
Klaus, do you really like Talladega Nights?
I think it's cock funny.
Are you pandering to the audience, or is this really your list?
Look, guys, we're trying to win a competition here, so
Okay.
let's see. Maybe
God
people are
damn
like,
it.
A, we haven't seen the movie, and B, we don't think it's particularly good. So
It's a good movie. So many good quotes out of that movie.
This is my final pick, correct? My final pick is, and it's very related to my first pick. It is Mean Machine. Essentially the
good.
British version of The Longest Yard. So
no.
love that movie. Jason Statham making an appearance.
Some good ones that were not taken. I
Yeah,
thought
I also
Goal
thought so.
was good.
Yeah, Goal for me was good, but I felt it
Um,
was always just a bit. It's like a rom-com fucking
Yeah.
thing.
So a lot of American football movies. We Are Marshall and Remember the Titans. But I think
Karate
those
Kid
are
and Rocky.
Karate Kid's good.
Rocky.
Rocky. I didn't watch that many Rocky movies, and I wasn't that into them.
But it is a cult film, right?
The one,
It's quite iconic.
one that's
It is a cult film, yeah.
$1 Million Baby was amazing. Actually forgot about
that's
that. Yeah, a lot of biopics as well that you could. I mean, Ali could have been up there. That was a great movie.
Yeah.
Rush.
I had Rush on my list. Yeah, that's a good one.
Let's remind the people what we've got. I got Invictus, Coach Carter, Moneyball, Bend It Like Beckham, and The Blind Side.
It's a good list.
It's a good list. Yeah, I've got mine's more comedy central. Mine's Cool Runnings, Mighty Ducks, King Richard, Dodgeball, and Talladega Nights.
And mine is The Longest.
That's very comedy
Yeah.
comedy heavy, but it's good.
I think mine's also quite lighthearted. The Longest Yard, Eddie the Eagle, Happy Gilmore, Mr. Bones, and Mean Machine.
Yeah, that's also very comedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
It's a good
solid
one.
picks. It's going to be interesting to see who gets the win in this one.
yeah. I'm gonna put we're gonna put some socials out. You can vote there. We're going to put it on TikTok. You can vote in the comments, and then we'll tally all of the stuff up and see who wins for next week.
And you can also vote under the YouTube video. So we will tally all of that stuff up together.
And you can also phone me and tell me that my list is the best. I'll definitely add that to the scores.
I don't know if that's kosher.
If you SMS Dom wins to star 136 star, we'll also tally those.
Klaus, can we agree that we only vote with one Instagram account there?
Well, now that we've kicked off the competition, I think neither of us should vote.
Oh, we're not voting for our own lists.
But we're also like politicians, Bruce. We always want to just vote for ourselves. So I think it's
I might vote for Klaus's list. There's a lot of good movies on there.
No voting for. No, we don't vote.
You can only vote if you vote for my list.
All right.
Okay, Maxi, we know you've got a bit of a time crunch. We've actually got to go pick up a car so that we can go play some golf. So at this point, we would like to just thank everybody for listening. Also, please like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. And we wish you a good week of sport and also a good start to the year.
Sounds good.
Au revoir.
Thank you.
Peace out. Cheers.
Hamburg Ciao.